The other day I posted something about the word directions because I was thinking that with school starting, students see this word a lot. So I thought it'd be fun to dive into it. And then someone pointed out that the word direct could be broken up even more because rect is a root. And I was so busy focusing on just the word direct that I didn't even think to do that. So I thought I would do that today. I would build a little word matrix with you and then kind of show you the process I would use to figure it all out. So rect is our root. It means straight or right. I can add the prefix di to make direct and then the suffix ion to make direction. And then if I want to, I can even add an S to make it directions. And then I can add 2 more suffixes to make directionally. And kids love to see like how many suffixes can we put together. So that's kind of a fun one. And now I want to point out anything in this column means that you have to go through one of these suffixes first. We can't jump over a column. Now moving back to this word, we could also then add prefixes before prefix di and to make misdirect, indirect, or redirect. We can add a lot more suffixes to make directed, directs, directing, or we can add that one on too and say misdirects or misdirected. I could make director with OR. I could make directive and I can make directly. I could even add on this indirectly. Now, if I want to look at the word director, so I'm putting together these affixes, director, and then I add suffix y to make directory. And then if I want more than one directory, I can add suffix es. And now one of the things we do here, this is a fun one, when we put all these together, we also need to show that the y is actually dropped, changed to an I before we add the suffix es. And that's actually a suffix changing rule that we teach pretty early on with dropping y and changing it before adding that suffix es or ed, one of those vowel suffixes. So now that we've looked at the word direct, let's look at a different one. Let's look at correct. That's another word that we're going to see a lot in school is prefix cor with our root rect, rect. And the reason I'm spelling them out, and I know I've been inconsistent with that, spelling them instead of saying them is because often when we're adding and taking away prefixes and suffixes to a root, the pronunciation does shift a bit. So it's just safer sometimes to spell it out. I want to point out, this is something newish that I learned, that prefix cor is related to or like used interchangeably with the prefixes con, com, col, and co. And it's all about, it's like based on what the first letter of the root is, and that's how you choose what letter. So in this case, if the root begins with that R, then instead of making it like con, conrect, or com, conrect, it's cor. That's just a little side note. So we have correct, and again, you can do, I think you can recorrect something. You can, something can be incorrect, and I'm pretty sure also you can miscorrect something. Maybe you're correcting a paper and you do it wrong. I don't know. I can look that up though to see if that's really a word. Use our resources, which I'll show you. And then you can also make correction, corrected, corrects, correcting, corrector, correctly. Is corrective a word? Not sure. Let's keep going. Okay, this one's kind of tricky. The word just putting sur with rect, surrect, isn't a word on its own, I don't think, but if you put prefix re in front of it, that's how we get resurrect. We can add ion to make resurrection. And you can also make insurrect, or oopsies, insurrection is a word. So that's another one that I thought was kind of fun. Next, we can have no prefixes and just add make rectify. Now the true suffix is fy and I is actually a connector vowel, but I'm not going to get fancy here. That's just a little side note. So rectify, I can drop the y and change it to I and add es to make rectifies, like, or rectified. I could actually add another ed there. We rectified the situation, and I can make rectangle or rectangles. So lots of words here. So a couple of things like tools you can use to figure it out. It's really fun to use. I'll go to the Edam Online. You can type in any word and it will show you or give you like the history of that word. It'll talk about like the roots and the prefixes and the suffixes. So that's kind of an interesting thing. And the other thing that I use that's really helpful is, let me just delete that real quick, word searcher. And I'm going to show you, that's how you get there. But you can put in any letter combination. So in this case, I'm putting in the root because I want to help me come up with all those words, right? I don't like think of those words off the top of my head. I put in rect because I wanted to see what words have that letter combination. And like all of these showed up. So then what I did from there was like, okay, I knew about direct because that was what I was focusing on. But I kind of looked for like the main base words, right? Like erect could be one, but I was worried about there could be some jokes if I had a certain suffix to that. So correct came up, and then there's like lots of words that have correct in it. And then direct had lots of words with, that's how I can think of all these the other words on that word matrix. There's like the rectify. So see, there's actually more I could have added. Correctness, correctives. So this is such a good tool. And what I can do from there is I find like my main words and then write the words underneath them. And that's how I can build my matrix, is I can figure out if I know what the root is, and then I can kind of go backward and figure out what the like prefixes and suffixes must be on them. And if I'm unsure, like rectify, for example, if I was like unsure about that one, I might just come here. I know that rect, I'm going to come back to Edam Online, and I know that rect is already going to be the root. So I'm just going to put in this because I'm kind of like asking if that's a suffix. And look, variant or verbal suffix fy with connective I. So then I do know that it is a word forming element, which is like a morpheme. And I can even find out like the history of it. It's kind of cool. But that tells me, okay, good, I'm on the right track. So I can go back to my word matrix and finish it up that way. So I thought I'd just show you the process I use that. And the main thing there is that I don't have the answer most of the time. And I learn every single time. And once you start doing these and really start looking at words, you just start to see roots everywhere and start to question a word and like, ooh, that's a common root. It happened to me the other day when I was tutoring, and I have to think of the word that we use, but it's just like you start to find it all over. And I use those two resources that I just showed you to really dive in and learn more. Sometimes I'll even just like Google, is such and such a suffix, or is such and such a root? And sometimes that works, not the most effective, but those are two places that I really like. So if you like this, I can just, I'll give a link to just like the blank one. I kind of like to just play around with it like this.